Welcome to another episode of Soft Signal. My name is Varun.
And my name is Aditya.
Yeah, today coming to you from slightly different locations, but hopefully the angles work okay. Uh, I'm not trying to be dramatic. It's just I'm in a different place in my home. But we have might be a different location, but the same high quality cricket nostalgia throwback this week as well. Uh,
High quality conversation
High
coming up.
quality conversations we can get nowhere else except at Soft Signal. Uh, but we are going to today do another 11. So we've been doing these 11s for a while now, but we've just got into the groove. I think it's a lot of fun. Also, we when we did those countdowns, we discovered that we need a third person. So if we get a third person again in the future, we'll do that again. But for now, today we're going to do another 11. And yeah, so we've done now left-handers 11. We did a all-time test 11 with one player from each country. We did a Last week we did the Asia 11 versus the not Asia 11. And this week it's captains. So the criteria is test cricketers who've played since 1990, could have started before as well, but who have been the captain of their test team. And there are a few conditions. They should have captained at least five tests, and we are not selecting more than three players from one country. And then a soft condition, which is they also have to have when they in the 11 they have to have played. We have to put them where they would have realistically played, and they a soft condition is that we might select someone who might not have been the best player but was a really good captain, or vice versa. Someone would not make the cut if they were a really good player and they might have captain, but they were not a great captain. So that's we haven't enforced that. That's just something I think we were discussing. I think we both ended up doing. Um, so yeah, any thoughts about that before we get into the 11?
Yeah, I'll be curious to see who will be the captain of this 11
Yeah.
because this is the captain 11 of all captains, and there's some pretty good captains in this 11. So who's going to captain a bunch of good captains? That will be interesting to know.
Yeah, they sure are. So, let's get started then. I have my 11 up. I think you have it as well. So it's a good mix, I'll tell you, from people from the past and present who are still playing as well. Because I think there have been some really good captains in the modern day as well. Should I start with my openers? Uh,
Yeah, go for it.
okay. So at the top, I considered a few players. I did consider actually let me just Yeah, so I considered Graham Smith because Graham Smith has been a captain in most of the 11s that has been most of the 11s that I've selected. There's Cook that came to power that I considered as well. I considered Sehwag. I know Sehwag has not captained a lot, but he did captain. And then I looked at it, but he had captained I think four tests. So if I'm not wrong, he just missed um our criteria. There's also Jayasuriya. Jayasuriya I've selected in the past as well. He has captained Sri Lanka. And then honestly, that after that, I might be missing a couple of names, but I couldn't really think of anyone else. The Australians, they haven't had openers as captains. Um, and then yeah, England has Cook, and then South Africa has Smith. So that's a roundabout way of saying that my two openers are Graham Smith and Alistair Cook. I don't know why I blanked out there because I was trying to think of different names. But yeah, those are my two openers. I think Graham Smith played most of his career as a captain, 109 tests as a captain, 8,000 runs, average of 47, and like I've said in previous episodes, I think the best captain of the past 25 years. And then Alistair Cook alongside him, uh, stellar record, 59 tests as captain, average of 47. Towards the end of his captaincy, he did start to fall off, but I think he had a really strong record initially, at least. So yeah, I think starting my 11 is Smith and Cook.
Yeah, that's an interesting start. I can go with my openers now. But for me, I consider pretty much the same bunch of players that you mentioned, and Graham Smith is one of my openers because obviously amazing captain, and he also captained for a very long time, right? I mean, he holds the record for captaining the most number of matches ever. So the 109 that you mentioned, no one's captained their country more frequently than Graham Smith did for South Africa. So he's one of my openers. Uh, I had Alistair Cook initially, but then I decided to not go with Alistair Cook as my second opener because I wanted to sort of also balance my team in terms of bowling options and so on. So I looked through the list, and the name that stood out for me was actually Sanath Jayasuriya. So 38 test matches as captain, a win percentage of 47%, which is great because Graham Smith, for instance, was 48%. So quite close to Graham Smith. Of course, Graham Smith captained a lot more. Jayasuriya captained 38 matches. But 38 matches as captain is not like a small number either. And I want Jayasuriya to be bowling as well. So he gives that other option. So I've gone for Smith and Jayasuriya as my openers. And yes, the other thing is I also like at least one of my openers to be a bit more flamboyant. I know that I had Alistair Cook as one of my openers last time when we did our previous 11, um, which I don't know what that was for. But anyways, I had Smith and Cook last time, but this time I've gone for more flamboyance and more options, more all-round options. And so I have Jayasuriya accompanying Smith at the top of the order.
Interesting. Yeah. Jayasuriya was, like I said, someone I considered as well. Honestly, even Saeed Anwar, now that I think about it, I texted you, right? Pakistan had so many captains in the 90s. I'm sure he captained a few tests as well, so he could have been a consideration as well. But yeah, I think Smith, he's been in all 11 so far. And then, yeah, Jayasuriya, I get the bowling option is definitely valuable. Great. So you have one South African, one Sri Lankan. I have one South African and one Englishman. Who's your three and four?
Yeah, so number three, I think this is a pretty straightforward one. Amazing batsman at number three, very successful captain, obviously helped by the fact that he had a brilliant team under him at that time. I'm talking about Ricky Ponting from Australia. 77 test matches, 62% was his win percentage. Um, of course, there were other captains as well or other players as well, who I consider at number three. The likes of Stephen Fleming, who was also a captain for a while and played at number three for New Zealand. There was Kane Williamson as well, and Rahul Dravid as well from India. But in the end, I think Ponting was a terrific player, excellent record as a batsman, and on top of that, an excellent record as a captain as well. So I went for him at number three. Number four, again, these positions. This is where you have so many options. But um, usually I would have gone for Sachin Tendulkar in any 11 at my number four. But now this is a bit different, right? We're talking about captaincy, and Sachin's captaincy record was really not very good. His win percentage was just 16. And it's well documented that, when he captained for India, he didn't perform that well as well with the bat. So I've decided to look elsewhere. Obviously, the other options were the likes of Brian Lara and Sangakkara, Jayawardene as well, who all, warrant a place in this 11 in terms of if you just look at the batting records. But then again, Lara didn't have a great captaincy career or captaincy record either. Sangakkara didn't actually captain Sri Lanka in those many test matches, just 15. So I've gone with someone else, someone who's actually still playing cricket these days. I've gone with Virat Kohli because obviously because again he's got a good record as a captain. First of all, 68 test matches as captain, 58% was his win percentage. Uh, he's obviously a modern day great. The last few years haven't been so good for him. But obviously, there was a time before 2021 where he was absolutely dominating everything, every bowler in every situation, in every conditions. So Virat Kohli, for that moment in time, was definitely, the best player in the world. Some would even argue that he was the best batsman of this generation, or in the last 20, 25 years. So yeah, so I've gone with Virat Kohli at number four. Um, and that's my first Indian in the list, following Ponting, who's the first Australian in the list.
Okay, that's very interesting. I'll talk through my choices as well. Um, so number three, yes, I considered Sangakkara. I considered Dravid. I I hadn't thought of Fleming, but yeah, he's. I think last time, you had said Callis batted at three, so I was curious if Callis had batted at like captain, but I don't think he captained too much either. So yeah, I have also gone for Ricky Ponting because I feel like Ricky Ponting, and I've never selected him in any of the 11 so far, and I feel like he should be in. He deserves. He's one of the greatest players of all time. Like as Indian fans, you might have hated him when he was playing, but he was. You can't deny that he, for all the reasons you said, like he did have a very strong team, of course, but uh, even without the team, like as a player, I think in those 5 years from 2002 to 2007, he averaged something like 75 or something as well. So great, like just when that team was dominating, like uh, during the first part of his captaincy at least. Yeah, one of the best batsmen, if not the best batsman in the world. So I have Ponting at three. Now at four, I had three options. So four options because I had considered Sachin as well. Then I thought you can't select him because he had a terrible record as captain. So it's just you can't having him in a captain's 11 doesn't sound right. Then I thought of Root, Smith, or Kohli. So Root has improved significantly since being relieved of captaincy. So he had a period where he would only get 50s and not get hundreds, which is great, but by his standards, it was not satisfactory. So and he wasn't a great captain either. So Root is out. I was between Smith and Kohli. Now Smith has stronger stats as a captain. He had, I think, an average of 70. That was his purple patch. Kohli did have uh, has dropped off for the past few years, but when he was captain from 14 to 2021, that was actually his peak, right? For the especially a few years in the middle. So, and then what tilted it for me was then Smith, while captain, also had the sandpaper incident, and that's another Australian spot gone. So that's to say my choice is also Kohli. So we've actually got the exact same choices, but I wanted to draw it out a bit. But I think this is the first time in a long time that you and I have the exact same picks, especially for three and four, which are positions where there are so many options.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many options for three and four. It's probably the toughest part, toughest spots to pick players for. But yeah, we've got exactly the same. Well, out of the top four, three of our picks are the same. It's only
Yeah.
Jayasuriya and Cook that are different. So yeah, that's interesting. I'll be curious to see what the rest of the picks are.
Yeah, it's kind of very too friendly for now. But I'm sure you have Shivnara and Chandrapal in there, and I don't. So let's just get that out of the way. Uh, but let's get to the five, six, seven actually, since we're on the topic. So I can start with my combination. So this is always, I think, the most interesting part, right? Because we have different ways of picking players. So I've gone for a batsman, an all-rounder, and a keeper. Uh, so in previous 11s, I've had Sangakkara as my keeper, uh, or Andy Flower, like basically people at not at seven. For the first time, I've gone for someone at seven as my keeper. So at number five, I there were a few options. There was Jayawardene, there was even Ganguly because we were talking just about as captain, right? So Ganguly does warrant um, a role in the discussion. There's Kevin Peterson because he did captain for a while, a very short time, but he was captain. But ultimately, I've gone for a player from the 90s, 80s, and 90s. Uh, One of the best captains who actually probably took Australia forward into their original era of dominance. And another Australian, of course, in my list is Steve Waugh. So he captained, I don't have the stats in front of me, but I know he captained from 1990 to 2003, so 4 straight years. They had their 16 tests in a row under him. And then just as a player, like even towards the end of his career, he was really strong. And then throughout his career, he had more than 30 test hundreds. One of the most underrated players, I think, he's been forgotten in the past 10, 15 years, but when he retired, he was very strongly rated as one of the best batsmen in the world. So yeah, I have Steve Waugh at number five, and I he will captain this team also. So that's one more Australian in the book. At number six, this is where I have an all-rounder, and it is a current player who's also currently the captain of his national team. It is someone who you had said indicated that I could have picked in previous episodes. Um, so I considered Shakib, but I want a fast bowling all rounder, and this person is a who can change the game. Some people say he's changed the way his team play. Also, no, I'm not so sure about that, but he is a game changer, and it is Ben Stokes of England at number six as a gun batsman, but also uh, a medium pace fast bowling option. That's Stokes at number six. And then I have at number seven, for the first time ever making his debut in my 11, is the greatest wicketkeeper batsman of all time, Adam Gilchrist. So Gilchrist was not a traditional captain. He was always vice captain to both Waugh and Ponting, but he did end up captaining about 16 tests. So he does qualify. And other than that, don't need to talk about his credentials beyond that. Like we've gone over that in previous episodes, but uh, changed the role of a wicketkeeper batsman, still considered the best of all time. So my number five, six, seven is Waugh, Stokes, and Gilchrist, which also means I have reached my Australian quota of three players. I have three Australians, two Englishmen, three Australians, two Englishmen, one Indian. Um, who- Let me, but I've lost track again. But I don't have. I had originally reached my quota of seven with because if I was considering route, I would have had all three Englishmen also, but I have one spot for England. So yeah, it's Waugh, Stokes, and Gilchrist. So now I have it in front of me. Three Aussies, one South African, uh, two Englishmen, and one Indian.
Right. So that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, Steve Waugh, amazing batsman, amazing captain, uh, and Australia achieved all of those amazing records under him. So yeah, no arguments there. Um, and I say that specifically because I have Steve Waugh as well as my number five in my team. I think he's got the best win percentage for any captain, 72%. Of course, you need a very strong team to be able to do that, and he was fortunate enough to have a strong team. But I think what the other thing that set Steve Waugh apart was that when he was captain, he was always like, ready to fight and perform in tough situations. And he always did it, right? Over and over again, backs to the wall. If Australia was in trouble, there was Steve Waugh in test matches, in ODI cricket, in whatever format, fighting it out and actually taking Australia over the line. So Steve Waugh warrants a place at number five in my 11 as well. And he will also captain my team. So essentially, exactly what you said. Number six. Oh yeah, I've gone for an all-rounder as well at number six. Um, and you know what? I think we're thinking along the same lines. Just to put it out there, I have Ben Stokes as well. So Ben Stokes is my number six as well. And just like you said, I considered Shakib. But then this is where I decided, okay, Shakib's record is not that great as a captain, but I still want a spinning option, which is why I took Jayasuriya as my opener instead of Cook. So I had selected Jayasuriya as my opener, which allowed me to not have Shakib in this 11, and so I went for Ben Stokes, who has great credentials as a player as well. He is a genuine match winner. There's no doubt about it. He can change games with the bat, with the ball, in all sort of conditions. I think Ben Stokes is a genuine all-rounder and a very good captain. It's been 32 matches now that he's been captain of England, and he's produced a win percentage of 60%. Um, so yeah, that's pretty good. At number seven is where we have a bit of a difference. So you went for Gilchrist. I decided to go for MS Dhoni, who's also making his debut in this show as well, because we never picked him before. So I've gone with Dhoni simply because I think he's probably the best captain that India had. Uh, I think the stats might not show that he's better than Kohli, but I do feel that um, just being able to captain a team with a number of stalwarts that were there when he took over, to sort of take India um, across the line. I know he did it mainly in ODI cricket, but he had a very strong record in Test matches at home. And I think, yes, it's true that he didn't really win too much away from home, especially after 2011. But that's again down to the fact that India did not have a very strong bowling attack at the time, because the focus was really to do well at home. So I think captains are also a product of what their teams are, right? But that being said, Dhoni, in spite of not having a great record overseas after 2011, still had a win percentage of 45% in the 60 matches that he captained India. And let's not forget, he actually won a few series overseas, right? So, like 2009 in New Zealand, for instance. I think there was a drawn series in West Indies as well in 2007. Um, so yeah, I think Dhoni was obviously a stronger captain at home, as compared to away, but I think he still warrants his place in the team because um, the other thing is a lot of players also looked up to him. They clearly sort of said that if Dhoni's in the side, if Dhoni is leading the charge, they are willing to do anything, if that's the case. So I think that also shows that he would have been a great team man as well and a great people's person. So Dhoni is the wicket keeper in my team, and he bats at number seven. So yeah, I've got two Australians, two Indians, um, one Englishman, one Sri Lankan, and one South African in my top seven.
Yeah, I'm just relieved that we don't have the exact same. That you picked Dhoni instead of Gilchrist at least. It's kind of uncanny how we were so close. I think also maybe the Australian quota might have factored into your
Yeah,
selection, right? Because I kind of know who you've selected now as a bowler, maybe.
exactly,
Uh, but
exactly.
yeah, interesting. Like Dhoni, yeah, Dhoni was I think definitely a better limited overs captain than Test. But yeah, especially the first half of this captaincy as Test was also really strong. So now we come to our bowlers. Um, my uh, it's a one spinner, three fast bowlers. I'm not sure if you have a different setup, but do you want to start going? Maybe go for your spinner first. And then I'll go with my
Yeah,
spinner, and then I will go with the fast bowlers.
yeah, sounds good. So yes, I have a three fast bowler, one spinner setup as well. Uh, but Stokes is of course my all rounder, and then Jayasuriya as well. So I feel that my team is nicely balanced. Yeah, so
Sorry,
my
I just
single
want to
spinner,
address one thing first. You don't have
yeah,
Shubman and Chandrapal
yes, for the first time ever,
unless he's coming in
this
at
is the, I
11.
think this is, I think this is the first episode where I don't have Shivnarine Chandrapal in my 11.
Yeah,
Uh, and that's a pity because I think he didn't captain West Indies enough. I think it was just a few test matches. I'm sure if he had captained West Indies enough, he would have somehow made it to my 11. But
yeah.
yeah, unfortunate for him. Unfortunate for me, not him.
I'm
Unfortunate
sure
for
if
me that
you had
Chandrapal
done
was
the
picked.
Asian 11 last time also, you would have said he is of Asian ancestry, so we can put him in.
I mean, exactly. He's got Asian roots, right? So he makes it to this 11, to the Asian 11, right? Anyways, so I go with my spinner, right? Yeah. So when I was going through the list of captains, it's interesting that a lot of spinners have not actually been captains of their team, and we always talk about fast bowlers not getting the opportunity to captain, but we don't actually say that spin bowlers haven't had the opportunity to captain because it somehow doesn't just strike, right? But if you look down the list, there haven't been too many spin bowlers who've captained their teams. So I really didn't have too much difficulty, I really didn't have too many candidates for the position. There was Daniel Vettori, who's the one that springs to mind immediately, but his captaincy record is not that great. And let's face it, he was not such a great spinner either, right? I know towards the end of his career, people were like, okay, Dan Vettori, his accuracy and this and that, but he never really took too many wickets. So Daniel Vettori does not make it to my team. But the guy who does make it to my team is my third Indian pick, and it's Anil Kumble. Because I think Kumble, again, didn't captain that much. He doesn't have a great record either. But, he captained India during a tricky period on that 2007 tour of Australia. It was a not it wasn't a series that was played in good spirits. But then he still kind of motivated the team to come back from a 2-0 deficit and draw that series. Oh no, I think I think they won one test match and then drew the last one. But it was a very good effort. Um, and I think just again, he probably didn't get a long enough opportunity at the start of his career to captain India because obviously you had other legends in the team, right? The likes of Ganguly, Tendulkar, Dravid. Kumble somehow obviously would never have didn't really get the chance earlier on in his career to be captain, but I think he would have been a good captain because he even showed in those 14 test matches that he was a good leader of people, good strategy and good tactics as well. And like I said, um there haven't been any other spinners really uh, who've been captain. So yeah, Kumble makes it to my 11 as a captain. He's obviously taken 600 plus wickets. There's no doubting Kumble's ability as a player. And for a long time, he actually carried India's bowling attack single-handedly in the 1990s, right? I mean, India's home record in the 1990s was good only because of Kumble. And yeah, so great player for me. Makes it into my 11 as the sole spinner and also takes up the third Indian spot.
Yeah, it's the same selection for me. So but it is
Okay.
because there is no uh there aren't many options, right? Vettori was the other one. Shakib maybe, but he can't bat at eight. It's too low for him. So then surprisingly, Herath has captained five tests, so he just makes our cutoff. But like, I didn't think he was like I don't even remember him captaining. So like, just because he made the cutoff, I didn't think it was fair to pick him. So yeah, I have picked Kumble as well because all the reasons you said. As a captain, his bowling average was almost 40, but that he was also it was his last year of international cricket. He retired as a captain. So that's unfair to judge that performance just on that. But yeah, overall 600 test wickets, one of India's greatest spinners, at least. I feel like Ashwin would have been a great shot here if he had been a captain, and he would have been a great captain as well, but that's another topic. So yeah, Kumble is my spinner as well. So yeah, that's my uh second Indian. So I have one Indian spot left as well, but unlikely that it's going to be filled. So let's go with fast bowlers. So I have three fast bowlers. Now one of them, get it out of the way. It is the great Wasim Akram, who continues, I think, along with Graham Smith, is the person who's made all of my 11 so far except the Asia 11 because Smith couldn't. But yeah, I think Wasim Akram has been in all of my 11s. And how much more can I say about him? Well, 400 test wickets, uh, a high score of 257 with the bat as well. Was Pakistan's captain on and off and on and off and on and off through the 90s when they had that revolving door of captains. I just remember from my personal memory, the ODI World Cup in '99 where they reached the final. and then the Test series in India just before that, where it was that wonderful Test match in Chennai, and then the Delhi Test and the Kolkata Test, which was part of some Asian Test Championship, but a lot of people consider the third Test of that series. So yeah, uh, as a captain, definitely prominent during the 90s and one of the greatest bowlers of all time. So yeah, he does find a spot in my 11. He's the first and actually the only Pakistani in my 11. So two more spots. The other fast bowler is one of the I think one of the first fast bowler to reach 500 test wickets. And we discussed his name before the show as well. So I have a feeling you might have him also, but it's Courtney Walsh, who captained in 22 tests, again towards the end of his career in the last 3 4 years, where he wasn't as strong as well. But uh, before that, in the 80s and early 90s, he was definitely one of the best fast bowlers in the world. And now that I look at it, even while as captain, his average was 25 with the ball. So that's like pretty strong, like really strong as well. So I have Courtney Walsh along with Wasim Akram. And then my third fast bowler is someone I was kind of struggling to see who to pick here, because I did consider Pat Cummins, but then I'd already reached my quota. I considered Waqar Younis, who I selected last time as well. But yeah, there's also Tim Southey, who's I think one of the most underrated bowlers of this generation. But I have ended up picking a South African who captained for that short period between Cronier and Smith, and it is Sean Pollock. So Sean Pollock captained in 26 tests, and his average with the ball during those tests was 21. Uh, at least from what I can see. Yeah, I might stand corrected later, but and not to forget, he was a very handy batsman as well. So this team, if you look at it now, that I have Stokes, I have Pollock, and I have Akram, who can all bat. So right uh up till number nine, they're really strong. I think up to number nine, I have players who scored a test 100. So yeah, that really balances out the team as well. So yeah, my three fast bowlers are Wasim Akram, Courtney Walsh, and Sean Pollock.
Yeah, that's a good lineup. Sean Pollock's an interesting pick. I had considered him as well. But in the end, he didn't make my 11. But yeah, let me run you through my list of fast bowlers. So just to get it out of the way, I've got Wasim Akram as well. So yeah, for all the reasons you mentioned, I think Wasim Akram is a fantastic bowler. Um, good average with good win percentage as captain, 48% is as good as Graham Smith's. Of course, captaining Pakistan is not an easy job, is it? So Wasim Akram makes it to my team as the first fast bowler. My second fast bowler is from Australia because I still have one Australian pick remaining, and it's also a current player, and it's no surprise that it is Pat Cummins, who's actually got excellent stats as captain, by the way. In 33 matches, he's won 60% of those 33 matches. So that is a very strong record. So Pat Cummins makes it to my 11, and I think he's still got many years of captaincy still left in him. So he's probably going to end up, captaining close to, I don't know, 55, 60 test matches. And it will be interesting to see what his win percentage will look like at the end of his term. But I think he's a fantastic captain and, of course, a fantastic bowler. So Pat Cummins is my second fast bowler. My third fast bowler is not Courtney Walsh though, because I know we spoke about him, and his name was actually the first name that just came to my mind when we spoke about, players who captained their team and batted at number 11. But because I like to have some raw pace as well in my 11, I've decided to go with Waqar Younis, who captained Pakistan in 17 Test matches, and his win percentage is 60%. So it's quite a high win percentage. I don't remember who they played during that time. I don't know. Maybe they were playing Bangladesh or something. But I think Waqar Younis teamed up with Wasim Akram yet again. They're going to cause a bit of havoc in any opposing batting lineup. But yeah, Waqar Younis with his extreme pace, toe crushing Yorkers, um, amazing reverse swing. I think he's quite a handful to negotiate. So yeah, so Pat Cummins, Wasim Akram, and Waqar Younis are my three fast bowlers. And I think yeah, Wasim Akram, Waqar Younis take the new ball and then hand it over to Pat Cummins. Yeah, and then of course there's Kumble as my lone spinner, and Stokes will be my all-rounder, so he can bowl as well a few overs with the old ball. And in case everybody's too tired to do anything else, there is Sanat Jayasuriya who can come in and roll his arm over. So yeah, so that's my team. I've got two Pakistanis, three Indians, three Australians, one South African, and one Sri Lankan, and one Englishman.
Yeah, really, really strong team. I've ended up with three Australians, two Englishmen, two Indians, and then sorry, yeah, three Australians, two Englishmen, two Indians, two South Africans, and then one Pakistani and one West Indian. So, yeah, I think we started off very strong, like alike, with just Cook and Jayasuriya different, but then from 7 to 11
Yeah.
onwards, we have three different picks. So just to recap, your team is Graham Smith, Sana Jayasuriya, and then Ponting, Kohli, Steve Waugh, Ben Stokes, Dhoni, Wasim Akram, Pat Cummins, Anil Kumble, and Waqar Younis. And then my team is also Smith, but Alistair Cook opening with him. 3, 4, 5, 6 remains the same. Ponting, Kohli, Waugh, and Stokes. At 7, I have Gilchrist. 8, I'm putting Pollock in at 8. Wasim Akram at 9. Kumble at 10. And then Walsh to end at 11. Actually, while saying it, I said that I have players up to 9 who have scored 100, but I think Kumble also made a test 100 right towards the end. So 10
Yes.
out of my 11 players have made a test 100, which I think is quite something. And 9 out of
Yeah.
your players have made. I think only Cummins and Wakar have not made 100. Cummins and
Yes.
Cummins might make 100. He's pretty handy with the
He
bat.
might make 100 at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
One thing about Cummins actually also is he's actually, for the first time in my life at least, he's leading an Australian team that is likable in some way.
Yes.
Like they're
I
redeemable.
mean,
Yeah.
I think Cummins himself is quite a likable guy, right?
Yeah.
Like he doesn't seem to be in your face, the typical obnoxious Aussie behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed, he's a likable guy. He is leading a likable team. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it's PR or what when this, but it's working if it's PR. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's something to say for Cummins. It's a really interesting exercise here. Anything that's so Steve was still going to be a captain of this captain's team?
Yeah, I think so. I think yeah, he's just an amazing character. Just a really strong, tough character. Brings out like he brings out the best in himself in tough situations as well. Um, and then the record, you can't look past the record, right?
Yeah, great. Yeah, he's still my captain also. This was fun. Always this is the topic we came up with last minute, but yeah, it I think it was a worthwhile exercise. I think not as difficult as some of the previous ones, but still quite a few names to consider. And it is surprising we realized a few things like not many spinners as captains, for example, like really no one. So
Yeah.
not to disrespect Anil Kumble, he deserves a spot, but yeah, he was very much a process of elimination also. Um, cool. Well, we'll be back soon. This was a lot of fun, but we'll be back next week with something else. Maybe another 11, maybe a countdown, or maybe something totally different. But yeah, stay tuned to find out, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah. See you next week, and thanks for watching.